cloud native, SD-WAN, analytics, machine learning, agile development and testing, edge computing, DevOps, service management, enterprise architecture, hybrid IT, neural networks, cybersecurity, serverless, low-code, no-code, big data, integration, Intellics, where we bridge modern and legacy technology and untangle the buzzwords to help business and IT leaders connect the dots to achieve digital transformation. Disclaimer: the perspectives expressed in this show are the independent opinions of the hosts and/or guests and do not necessarily reflect the position of Intellics or any companies mentioned here. And now, your hosts, Charles Arajo.
When it comes to data, organizations have long sought to bring it all under one roof. Data warehouses, anybody? But doing so required heroic efforts. API centricity and new approaches to BI may finally be changing this, but is simple end-to-end analytics a realistic possibility? Well, LSP, what do you think? Realistic or pipe dream?
Definitely not a pipe dream, definitely realistic. And we are seeing this movement in the industry today. So, for example, we talked about models earlier. We talked about departmental models where you bring in data from a CRM system. You can basically have all types of relationships understood within that model and interact with the data. Your CRM data, with your marketing data, with your, let's say, finance data, what happens is you can go to the point of saying, hey, what's my Google Ads ROI? Right from the time of someone clicking that ad to the point of them becoming a customer, to the point of them paying out invoices. You can do that level of end-to-end ROI because unified modeling is already something that's happening. With a lot of BI tools being able to do that. Even if they don't do it automatically, they have layers or extension layers where a line of business user who has some significant or even simple SQL chops can create those end-to-end models and interact with the data. But first step is API centricity. How open are the applications that you are selecting for your organization's needs? Do they have data exposed, or is it just proprietary system? Where they don't want to expose any data. So API centricity is important. The ability to create models, which tools are able to do now, is also a very important aspect. And yeah, definitely not a pipe dream if you ask me. It's definitely realistic, and it is happening today.
But so I wanted to just pick up on something you said. You talked about, we talked about end-to-end, and I'm thinking that as far as raw data all the way through, but you're also talking about end-to-end in terms of like the customer journey, or you use the Google Analytics and the ROI perspective, right? So I just wanted to double click on that just very briefly. You're saying that to get this right, to make it realistic, it's also about having that perspective.
Absolutely, because you need to understand what you want to do with what's the goal of your analysis? What are you doing this for? So at the very foundational level, you need to understand what are the data points that you need to analyze for you to understand your business better. And within that context, what are the dots that you want to connect? So having that sense of what needs to be connected is important. The tools are there, technologies are there, but at the meta level, what are the questions that you want to have responses or answers for?
This idea that this end-to-end view is complex, that wasn't hype. I mean, it was rooted in reality, right? I mean, at least historically. So how is it that we're overcoming that today?
Again, you're looking at BI platform providers who have created that domain expertise. They understand different models, and not just departmental models. They understand the cross-departmental models, and also being helped by, obviously, again, the panacea out there, the machine learning layers, to help them to see how data is connected and how different departments are interacting with each other, is helping them to get to those models for analysis, which is now giving them the ability to have 360-degree view of their business.
One of the things I know that we've talked about previously, and I'm not sure I fully grasp it, but I have a feeling it fits in here, is you talked about like blending of these models, right? Mm-hmm. And that's often one of the points that can be tricky with this. So is that correct? And if so, can you go a little bit deeper there?
It is tricky, for sure. It is tricky, but that's where BI platform providers are now trying to create vertical applications. So they want to understand the domain and get to the point of creating those domain models out of the box. And not just they're not content with just one or two verticals. They understand that for business to have 360-degree view, there are multiple elements that need to come together. So at one level, they're trying to create those models out of the box. And another layer, what they're trying to do is open up that layer for extension. So if you have a data analyst, or if you have someone who has significant IT chops, they can use on the self-service BI platforms to create those models for analysis and go from there. So it's about having the automated out-of-the-box capabilities. It is also about exposing or keeping the platform open where some extensions can be created, because this is truly what is going to push an organization to be more data driven. If you're going to be in a silo where you just have the out of the box models provided by the BI tool, that is too limiting in itself.
So as you were going through all that, I was sort of processing, and I'm going to apologize in advance for putting words into your mouth, but it sort of sounds like you're saying that what you're describing means that I don't need a data warehouse in the future. Is that what you're saying?
Not at all. Not at all. Data warehouses could be one source of input to a visualization and a BI tool. What I'm talking about is a line of business user today can just plumb data from their business application. And all these BI platforms typically have a data warehouse layer, which is purpose built. I'm being very clear here. It's purpose built for analytical workloads. So there is data there. You can make the data resident in that a data warehouse that the BI platform has. Again, this is where you see the way a large organization and a mid-sized and small business would react to their data warehousing needs. So a small and medium businesses would basically depend on the BI platform and use that as a quote unquote data warehousing system, but it's only for the analytical workload. However, if you look at a large organization, they would typically have their the big 800-pound gorilla data warehouses where it is going to feed multiple systems. It could feed their batch processes, business analytics applications and machine learning applications and so on. No, I'm not saying the BI tools are going to replace it, but there is a context and it does have a data warehouse built in.